Welcome, my friends. This is Maniacal Incorporated. High King Ruain's army, having ravaged the Lollard heresy in Wales, is now heading off towards Northumbria to gather more money for Ruain's conquest of Wales. He has, for now, completely abandoned his plans to attack Scotland, and he's going to focus on welding together Ireland and Wales and creating a hybrid culture. So we're going to start increasing cultural acceptance shortly. For now, however, he is going to lay claim and usurp the remainder of the Principality of Gwynedd. Now, with that usurpation, unfortunately, we're not able to gain any more vassals. However, we have somehow come into the possession of Excalibur. And considering it gives 2% knight effectiveness and increased court grandeur bonus, do you know what? We might as well put it in there next to some small children. Don't any of you touch it. Don't even look at it. We've just been told that a member of our court has fallen ill with consumption. There aren't any plagues in Irish territory as yet, though the southeast of England is being hit with a fever. And hopefully that won't spread as far as the Irish holdings in Wales. Ruain has finished the Gallant tree focus and can gain the trait Gallant. And considering his new holdings in Wales, and the need to increase cultural acceptance to form a hybrid Irish-Welsh culture, Ruain is going to begin studying his new subjects. We're going to switch to the scholarship focus, and we're going to head anyway for open-minded, so that will give cultural acceptance gain of plus 20%. And Northumbria has actually raised its forces against us. Well, it's raised its forces. I don't know if it's actually raised them against us. They've gotten depleted all of a sudden. And our acquaintance Hasteen has died of old age. It was too good for him. Now, the last time Ireland was hit by a plague, it killed Donald of Oil, who was going to succeed Flannacoin as High King of Ireland. His two sons are creating a bit of trouble. Donald of Oil, mock Donald of Oil, is attempting to install his brother Orthanok on the Irish throne, while Orthanok is trying to install Donald of Oil on the Irish throne. This faction has gained enough support and will be able to send an ultimatum in 34 months. They have Finbar, Flanshina's son, supporting them. Now, we do still have a number of areas to restore control to. We can get up to 4,200 troops at the moment, and that should easily cause that faction to collapse. The only problem is the areas at the moment with low control, 42 years to restore control. They are 6 years to restore control in Ulster. It's going to take a while. And actually, the other thing we can see is our father, Donal, has finished increasing development somewhere, and it's now on to taking 2 years. So instead of looking for the next place to move him to, what I am instead going to do is have him promote cultural acceptance. So to form a hybrid culture, we're going to need to get to 40% cultural acceptance. We're at 3% at the moment, and the yearly gain is 1.05 as a result of the intermingling in the realm, vassalage, and the fact that we are promoting acceptance. Now you can see that the recent changes, the Irish-Welsh War, caused a 2% negative, so if we need to wage more wars to try and unite Wales, that is going to hamper our bid to create a hybrid culture. We'll worry about all that later. However, Ruain once again takes command of the raiding army. Northumbria's forces have hit us, and it looks like they're going to be dealt a heavy defeat. Oh, we've gotten a number of pop-ups all at once. We have discovered onagers. That was what we were fascinated with, so I concentrated our research on that. We can see in the corner there, our mother has died of stress. The poor woman was kept in a prison in the Isles for a number of years, and our father borrowed money from us to ransom her out, which he then spent on alcohol, from what I can see. And our daughter was betrothed to the son of the Duchess of Mercia, and he has actually died. Died from his wounds at 8 years of age. That alliance with Mercia, we were pretty heavily dependent on that alliance, and that, I would say, has now fallen true. Now, I know that there is a marriage alliance between the King of England's son and our cousin, but I'm not too sure how he's our brother-in-law. And our court poet, Kira, comes to us and tells us that with a subtle threat, we might be able to convince him to begin promoting the legend of the Red Hand of Ulster. He's having none of it. We have been hit by a wayward army. I think we're actually accidentally going to hunt down another one. Our dog Bran is impressing our vassal. I'd be much more impressed with you if you got married and had a child. He is a good boy, though. And poor Muirin, after losing her potential husband, a widow at 7 years of age. In one of our raids, I gave her a doll to make up for the loss of her husband. We're not giving her Bran. We'll lose 6 court grandeur. Now we can see a much larger Isles army heading down. I was going to start raiding down the Isles, but that army is too large to take on. So what we're going to do is head for the Isle of Man and head back home. And the Devils, we didn't get an opportunity to stop them, but Flanders decided to raid Ireland. And they're now heading, oh, the Devils, they're now heading for our holdings in Wales, and there's not a lot that we can do. Other than the usual teleportation, we've disbanded the army in Ulster, and we're now going to raise it over here. I don't know if we'll get in time. We have indeed. My god, look at that for a jawline. Here is Niall, here is Kovla. She has the giant trait, hopefully. There you go. Babby has the giant trait as well. May you grow to be strong and wise. Now back to the battle. So Flanders' army had managed to raid down Leinster and pushed in as far as Dublin just as we were bringing our forces back. I don't think we're going to be able to vassalize any of the forces in Wales without declaring war. So minus 138, and that's pretty much the best. And it's that big minus 80 penalty from different faith, minus 50 base reluctance, minus 35 from the cultural acceptance. We're going to need to get the army back together anyway. That's going to be the main thing for now. And while we're waiting for that, especially as we're going down the scholarship route, we will begin a scheme to learn Brythonic. It might contribute a small bit to the cultural acceptance. And you know what? I don't think we need to worry about that faction to try and install either of the two Donal brothers as High Kings of Ireland, because they're now all fighting amongst each other. So Orthanuk and Finbar are trying to install Donald O'Voyle as High King of Ireland, but he is now attacking Finbar for control of Meath. We might need to step in there at some stage and block that from happening. We're going to hold a royal court for the first time since beginning the conquest of Wales. And right off the bat, we have gotten the decision which will allow for a massive boost to cultural acceptance. We will hold a big festival celebrating both Irish and Welsh culture, so 20% cultural acceptance gain. We're told that our court physician Selva has been discovered digging up dead bodies with the plagues that we have suffered and with the disastrous consequences of the last major plague, which killed the High King of Ireland and his presumed successor. Do you know what? Studying the human body is a sad necessity. And now that we're trying to teach ourselves a language, I've appointed a court tutor, Aaron, and I've actually appointed a number of court officials. But Aaron was assisting in teaching us Brythonic well. He's just been caught sending sensitive information to spies in Northumbria. But considering that he's the only good court tutor we have, we will forgive once. So we're up to 24%, yet the yearly change is now just 0.67, as there is a pretty hefty yearly loss of almost 0.2, as it decays towards the baseline. So the accepted baseline is just 5 from the fact that we share a majority religion. So it's going to be hard to push that up, and like I said, I think we're going to have to declare a number of wars in the region, which is going to hit the figure even more. And here's that poor courtier who joined us on the promises that we would seize Lancashire for her. We had big plans, and it looks like they have all come to naught as we have now turned our attention towards Wales. May your journey be swift and safe. Do you know what? If it wasn't for the fact that I need to save the money for a war, I'd nearly think about buying an Egyptian warhammer from some Welsh peddlers. Here's French Rory, who killed one of our knights on the last episode. I've made him my antiquarian. So he's really being made to pay us back for killing our personal champion. Cairo, what tripe? Out with you. And it looks like our acclaimed knight, Cullum Line, has died of cancer at the age of just 47, and he has been replaced as the Red Branch Knight by Orthanuk U Fueloin, who's currently one of the highest prowess, well, the highest prowess figure to hold that title. We don't really have a successor for him at the moment, other than a character that is in, one of the Welsh characters that has entered our kingdom, but he's not currently serving in the army. Do you know what? I mean, he's just below that figure. We'll stick him in for now as a potential successor. And we can also see that the Prince of Dehybert has stopped promoting the legend of the Red Hand of Ulster. It has actually spread in the region since we arrived here. And I think we're going to use that as a pretext to declare a holy war for the duchy. And I was just about to begin raising our forces, but rather awkwardly we can see that the rally point is outside of our kingdom. So Cheshire has fallen. Died at 61. Well, do you know what? He did his job, which was he helped us to set up a springboard into Wales, basically. So that could have all just been an utter waste of time, but instead, Rouen is now on the verge of gaining an entire kingdom. Howes has raised its forces and started moving them out. We'll have to cross a river. We might actually be on a bit of a run around trying to hit them. And I think their main forces are falling back on the capital, or a bit beyond it. We're locked in. I'd say we're going to miss them. We're going to be running around. Bran the Troublemaker. Is this Bran my dog or Bran my child? So High Chieftain Flaherty has had a fairly bad time. I think he was imprisoned in Finbar's court recently for his involvement trying to seize Meath. So he was imprisoned and he's been released. Go on, we'll give you 50 quid. I'm still not sure, am I compensating him for something my child did or my dog? Do you know what? My dog is my child. And in the midst of this war, we are given the news that we have inherited the High Chiefdom of Ulster. Our father, Donal, has died. And he has stopped promoting the legend. Dead. Here is our cousin, Anya. Our cousin and our friend. She is pretty, and I have arranged for her to be married to Senkon, the son of Jacob, who was, I believe, a former caravan master in a matrilineal marriage, so they both have good martial stats, and she has that pretty trait, which we might see kept in the Enail family. Now, the first thing that we need to do is appoint a new steward, and it's an important position because they're currently increasing cultural acceptance with Welsh, and it looks like he's on the up and up. We've been making fun of him for a while. High Chieftain Finbar Mac Flanshina will be appointed as the new steward. And with all the stress that we're under at the moment, our father's death, we haven't even gotten to see our new holdings yet, and we are over our limit. We're trying to teach ourselves Brythonic. It's not going very well. We called somebody's mother a sycophant and a Jezebel. I meant to call her serene and a sweetheart. I've given up on my attempts to chase down the army of Dehybert, so we're going to put Gothard, 66 years of age, fair play to him. We're going to put him in charge of the siege of their capital. And that gives us a handy opportunity to take a look at our new holdings. Our brother, Cunla, my god, he's looking rough. He's looking rough. That man had a helmet on him. We've appointed him as our player heir. But look at him there, baiting himself with a whip. He's in bad shape. So he actually has Alach, the ancient capital of the Enail and of our grandfather, Áed Findliath. But we now have Oriel, or Argilla, which gives us access to the special building slot. We don't have anything available there at the moment, but this is effectively the duchy capital. And I think we also have Ulla. So here is where we started out in Evonia. And this devil has been causing some hassle, but you know what? We might as well grant him the Earldom of Evonia. And at the moment, our capital is in Munster. So once we're in a position to move our capital, once the war ends, I'll move it to Dundelgan and I will restore Munster to the Onacht. And we receive even more bad news. Our court poet, Kira, has died, a famous figure. Helped to spread the legend of the Red Hand of Ulster. She has died at 60 years of age, of old age. And here we have a mayor in Wales offering to help us to learn Brythonic. Do you know what? It's going to give us some stress and it's going to cost a bit of money. But we might as well get some outside help. From his throne, Ruoin looks upon Excalibur and possibly his wife flirting with a random courtier. We could put a stop to whatever they're doing. 43% chance that their relationship remains the same. 56% chance that the two might become friends or even lovers. The spike of interest in each other peters out. Good. In our court at the moment, there is only one person who is capable of filling the position of court poet. That is Beatrice, the widow of Lachlan Unsair. I think our caravan master, who died at the start of this episode, so I will appoint her to that position. And we will make sure that she is commending the legend abroad. Now, we might be a bit jealous of our wife and her friendships at court. However, Lady Tegla, who is somebody that I attempted to offer vassalization to, and who refused, she has become interested in us and has started showing interest. We're actually not too far from where she's based in David. She instead accepted vassalization under Dehybert, which is actually one of the reasons that we've had to push in and take this region. Because we need 2 more counties to form the Kingdom of Wales, and we basically don't have the ability to get those. She does have a certain charm, doesn't she? And because of our new steward, Finbar's skills, cultural acceptance between Welsh and Irish has increased by 10%. We're up to 33%, even with that -2 from the current ongoing war. And we're also in a position to take our first learning lifestyle trait. We're going to take this one, which will give us learn language success by increases by 25% and cultural acceptance gain plus 20%. That should leave us in a pretty solid position for forming a hybrid culture. And finally, we have the fall of the capital of Dehybert, and we've taken a mace in the midst of it. And here's our daughter, Wiryn, laughing at play with her fellows. "I am High King Áed of Ireland. I'm the hero," she says. I'm not entirely too sure who she's playing with, but Child's Legend will give Legend spread chance plus 10%, so we'll leave her to it. Reese, I genuinely hope you didn't spend much on that mace, because here's a random Gaelic sword. Same amount of prowess, and it even gives additional prestige. I'm probably going to give this back to him when we take Dehybert, but you know what? This would probably do him better. I really hope you didn't spend much money on that. Are we finally going to manage to hit their armies? We are indeed. They've been leading us around on a merry dance. His traits were looking good, his stats were looking oh so good, but this is probably the one that could kill off any chance of Rory ever succeeding as High King of Ireland. Our son Rory, he has gained the trait Shy. Now we're probably going to spend the stress to give him Paranoid. None of these options are great. Do you know what? If he's not going to become High King, because that's a terrible one to have, trying to hire knights, we'll leave him as is and pretty much bring to an end any hope he ever had of becoming High King. And it always happens while we're on campaign. Anglo-Saxon balls has started in this region. It is a minor plague at the moment. It has claimed no fatalities, but if it pushes in this direction where our army is, we might have to vacate the High King and have him go into seclusion. Where's the bravery of when he started day one and he was prepared to risk infection? That's all gone. Now that he stands on the verge of becoming King of Wales and creating a hybrid culture, this man wants to stay alive. Roquan has managed to defeat the army of Dehybert in battle. However, he has not done enough to break their forces, even though he has their capital under siege. And now he is beginning to question whether he is worthy of the Red Hand of Ulster, of the legend of the Red Hand of Ulster, even though the legend isn't necessarily about him. If he takes this, he is going to reach a critical level of stress. I think I am. And I think he thinks he is too. So stressed is Ruachon that he is on the verge of abandoning Catholicism and converting to Catholicism. Ruachon, no, don't do that. He's going to gain an additional 25 stress, and we're going to work towards getting rid of that. And as Rukon continues his campaign in Wales and begins to suffer overwhelming levels of stress, we are brought the devastating news that Anglo-Saxon balls have spread into Ulster. We receive a hefty hit to legitimacy, and we will summon the court physician. So it has spread across the entire centre of England and has skipped the Isle of Man and headed into Ulster. Now, being the High King of Ireland has many advantages, but it also means that you are constantly mobbed by adoring fans, such as your own brother, Chieftain Cunla, who has travelled many days and nights to hear the legend of High King Ruoin. I must be a hero for myself. Stress loss per level of fame plus 25%. And we also have the option of early prevention, or the plague of Anglo-Saxon balls which have descended upon Ulster. The plague does not appear to be too severe, and it is my recommendation as a professional that we take a light approach to prevent the spread. A soft approach is best. And this is, I think, Selva's second or third major plague at this stage. Of course, she was involved in the failed attempts to save our predecessor, Flanacoin, but we have plague resistance plus 5 for 10 years as a result of the early preventative methods she has implemented. And we finally managed to hit these guys. Now, our stress levels are bad at the moment, but they could get a lot worse. We have failed to learn Brythonic, and if we were to start all over again, we would gain 100 stress. The war is going well, but we will have to admit defeat. Brythonic is beyond my capabilities. And the wife is given out to us that we neglect everything but our studies. We don't seem to be doing very well with the studies. Get your head out of those dusty scrolls or don't come to my bed tonight. I need not lay with you. I have the warm embrace of knowledge. We will gain 100 learning lifestyle experience. And here are some prisoners. They're absolutely useless, so I have demanded their conversion to insular. And I'm just releasing them. Good luck. All the best. So Beatrice, our new court poet, is asking us something about High King A meeting a mystical woman. And that she gave him a divine mission. We can say that we forged it ourselves, and we will change a legend chapter. Or we could try to gain illustrious waters or mythical water. There's a pretty hefty chance though that we're going to gain stress instead. Let's take the risk. And indeed, one of the areas in Wales has gained mythical water. Now we've had to step down from command of the army again, give it back to Gotthard to begin sieging another area because we cannot gain any more war score from battles. And while we're out riding, Bran has run off into the wetlands. I will be patient. No matter how long I wait, Bran does not return. Just as I am about to leave, my son, Rory, appears out of nowhere, Bran in tow. My friend, I do believe you lost someone. I'm your father. Show me some respect. Such luck, thank you. You're still not going to be High King, though. And again we receive another missive from Ulster. The plague of Anglo-Saxon balls has been lifted. We'll spend 12 quid to recover from the disease in the area. And it has taken a while, but we have finally managed to complete the conquest of de Hybert. And there's Lady Tegla, looking well. Now, we've been told a few things, including that a chapter of the Red Hand of Ulster has changed. However, also, Saelvla has left our court. So she's married to Gotthard, who is still the commander of our forces, but she has gone off to join a bishop in Hampshire under the vassalage of the King of England. I suppose that's what happens when you become an expert in plagues. You're in demand. She dealt with the Anglo-Saxon balls in Ulster so well that the Anglo-Saxons themselves have hired her to come and look at their balls. Well, the first thing we'll do anyway. Lady Tegla in our court, minus 89% opinion. We will negotiate her release on the condition that she converts to insularism. Now that we are at peace, we will move the capital to Dundelgan. And we will present to poor Owl Flaherty the Earldom of Thomond. Now Lady Tegla has very wisely accepted insularism, so hopefully we will actually see a chunk of her family convert in line with her. So her husband has converted, as have her children. Now, her brother-in-laws continue to follow the heresy, but what I might do is I might actually give them most of the land in this duchy. So we're going to hold on to Gwynedd, and we're 4 counties over our limit, and those are the 4 counties, so we're going to give them away. Actually, here is one of Lady Tegla's courtiers, her caravan master, who has converted to insularism, or maybe he was always insular. We will give him the Earldom of Gwent. I've managed to find a couple of insular Welsh courtiers to hand out most of the duchy to, and do you know what? In honour of the service that he has given to the kingdom, his stats have started to fall a bit now that he's baiting the living daylights out of himself. He doesn't have any children yet, but Rigoin, who was a reaver and led a number of raids, considering that we don't have all that many raid targets anymore, I'm going to grant him the capital of the duchy. So the Baron is no longer our caravan master. I'm then going to create the duchy title, and we will grant it to Rigoin. So that's gotten our domain limit under control, and we now have 37% acceptance between Irish and Welsh culture, growing by just under 1 per year. We can see there that granting a number of regions to individuals of the Welsh culture increased by 1.2%. So if we'd actually given that capital to Rigoin or to somebody of a Welsh culture instead, we'd be on 38, close to 39. Now, with the loss of our physician, we're in a bit of trouble because there's nobody who's really good for the position. We could put a lunatic in there as our court physician. Most people are poor or terrible. Gotthard is average and 68. French Rory, he's the only one that's good. He's our antiquarian. He's a knight. Look, we might as well give it to him for now. Now, at the moment, after all that expenditure, Ruoin is not in a position to crown himself as King of Wales, and there are, as you can see, 2 holdout regions that will not accept vassalization at the moment. What we're going to have to do is focus on getting the army up and restoring control in a number of regions. And once we have that done, we might march north and attack Northumbria, which has been a great source of wealth for the kingdom so far. We might even try and push as far as Scotland. The only problem is that they now have an army quite close in size to our own, at the moment superior to our army, under the rule of their new king. But for now we're going to have to deal with the stress that Ruoin is suffering from. We're going to head for Athenry, where a row has been sighted. And we're going to have to cut costs. We don't need the mercenary guard travelling with us, and we're also going to just keep the party size at level 1 and the attendance at level 1 and stay on that recreation focus. It's still going to cost 76 gold, however. So this is the first opportunity for, I was going to say one of our vassals in Wales to meet with the rest of the kingdom, including Orthanuk, who hates us. I'm sure they'll get on well together. And I didn't actually spot it there, but one of our vassals has given us a new nickname. Our predecessor was known as Longsword, and Ruoin will now be known as Ruoin the Brave. Now we've come looking for a row, but Laura, the evil of Ossory, has found some flowers. Fascinating. We will gain 300 lifestyle experience. Now while we were busy looking at flowers, our wife, Estefina, actually went off and killed a hare. And we could treasure it, lose 53 stress. We could lay with High Queen Estefina, lose 114 stress, but somebody might learn about our secret relationship with our wife. Oh no. Hopefully not. Now the actual hunt for the roe continues. We can't head it off because we're brave. We can't mine the bog because we're brave. And we can't ride after it because we're patient. After it, we ride. And to nobody's surprise, we have failed to capture the roe. I will not sink so low as to buy a roe from the local market. We will gain, I think, +5 opinion with all of our direct vassals. And even though the hunt has ended in failure, we have lost a lot of stress, taken ourselves away from the brink of a breakdown. We have gained some legitimacy and some prestige. Now in our court we have the Great Hare Hide, which was slain by High King Flanacoin, and over here we have the hide of the beastly Fox of Kendall, which was brought home from Eastern Europe by Ricardo. I'm going to move the hide of the Fox of Kendall over there, and we will place the Wild Hare Hide, created by our wife. We will place that over her throne. Now, we might love and respect our wife, but we love and respect our own life even more. We have found a plant, we're not too sure what it is. Let Estefina eat it. And shocked that we would jeopardize the life of our wife in such a fashion, our dog has run off. We could send Gilacrease after him for a 50-50 chance, or we will find you. 100% chance that we find our pet. And because we personally found him, we could lose some additional stress, or we could gain an adventurous pet with +1 prowess for 2 years. Do we gain that prowess, or does the dog? We do. We are preparing to hold a council meeting, and Bran has approached the door with begging eyes and a drooping tail. He does not like to be left alone. Well then, Bran will join us in the council meeting. And you know what? The next time that we must leave the kingdom, we might leave Bran behind as our regent. Our marshal is just starting to disagree with us over something when Bran growls at him. On second thoughts, I think it's a great idea. And we switched over to the Scholar Focus to focus on cultural acceptance. I think we're 2% away from where we need to be. Open-minded, cultural acceptance gain plus 20%. Which now brings us up to a staggering 1.2% yearly gain. 1.5 in total, and minus 0.3 of a decline. And after a lengthy struggle, our Archbishop has begun the process of converting Wales away from the Lollard heresy and towards insularism. We might as well continue on where we are. Is there anywhere that won't take 6 years? Doesn't look like it. Now, after all she's done for us, we are becoming suspicious that our wife has taken a lover. Her every move will be watched. High Chiefess Dunla of Northumbria appears before us with a tiny, tiny scroll fit for a 2-year-old. Aww. And they have committed that the first book they will ever learn to read will be The Legend of the Red Hand of Ulster. We have a 67% chance to convince a baby. Let us try and persuade a baby. We have succeeded. Oh god, no, I think our daughter is into healing crystals. So we see some gemstones in her room, and she lets us have one of them. A modest gemstone, learning +1, prestige plus 0.02. He has become shy, but he also saved our dog. Rory, our eldest son, has come of age. That's not a great martial stat. They grow up so fast. And as we try to convert Wales, we find that our uncle, Donald O'Voyle, does not believe in the insular doctrine. We've been told that High Chiefess Dunla has stopped promoting the Legend of the Red Hand of Ulster. As always, we will use this as a pretense to go on a raid. And as we head for Northumbria, we have received the news that Finbar Mac Flanchina has been killed at sea. So Finbar's daughter has become the new ruler of Meath, and we will use this as an opportunity to organise a marriage between her and our son Rory. Now, unfortunately, Finbar was doing quite a good job as our steward, promoting cultural acceptance. Donald O'Voyle, our current spymaster, is not as good a steward as him, but we will have to appoint him to that position. And for spymaster, Laura the Evil, what a suitable name, can take over. Our forces descend upon Northumbria, and we will take bounteous plunder from the small baby. And so our forces return home with the start of 86 gold when we are informed that Northmen are making, I think this is the second attempt that they have made on the province of Leinster. We don't need to rally the troops, they're already rallied. So close, oh so close to the creation of a hybrid Irish-Welsh culture, but unfortunately we are going to have to wait and deal with this Northman menace first of all. And as we were bringing back the forces, I was going to be sending them to deal with Rigoin in Dehybert, who has been revoking territories. He revoked Gwent, and you can see that that has led to a minus 1.2% penalty, so if it hadn't been for that, we might actually be in the position to create a culture. But for now, that will have to wait. Thank you for joining me on this episode, and I hope that you will join me on the next one, as undoubtedly High King Ruoin crowns himself as King of Wales.